I'm Josh, and this is the Bacon Lodge Adventures. Today, I'm going to be doing a little bit something different here. I got so many clicks and likes on the charcuterie board, this one right here, well, one of these, that I thought I'd do a little bit of a talking about the difference between a charcuterie board and a cutting board, and why certain things are used for certain things and other ones are not used for it. Um, with that, so you guys really liked the charcuterie board video I made. I don't know if it was just because of the charcuterie board itself or if I finally got confident enough in my voice and stuff that people are actually watching me. So I wanted to go through and tell you what the difference is. So this is a charcuterie board that I made. It has the two handles on it. It has feet on the bottom of it. Um, this one itself doesn't have any epoxy in it, but if it did, that would be a major thing of why you would not use this as a cutting board. This one you actually could use as a cutting board because it doesn't have any epoxy in it, but it would kind of look funny. The main difference between the two is that one is used for serving and one is used for cutting. So with that being said, all cutting boards can be charcuterie boards, but not all charcuterie boards can be cutting boards. The definition for I looked up last night of charcuterie means cold smoked cured meat. But people use them to display pretty much everything. But traditionally, it would be a French thing where you would put like your salamis and your uh, different smoked meats and fishes on here. In the last 5, 6 years, people are starting to use them a lot for displays because you can get a nice looking wood like this, and you can display all your meats and cheeses when you have people over and crackers, and it makes people feel fancy. And it doesn't really cost a whole lot, and it looks a lot better than the plastic stuff you get from a store. That being said, I wanted to go through kind of what separates the two and the different styles of each one. So, like this one right here, I made this. This is actually one of the first end grain cutting boards ever made. End grain means that it's the end of the board. So normally a board like this is a face grain where the grain is running sideways. This one there stood up on the end. It's good for a cutting board because when you're cutting down into it, you can go in between the grains themselves instead of trying to cut across them. So you don't mar it up as bad. The reason why the end grain doesn't get as marred up as a face grain, think of this brush. These are the grains of the wood. They're standing up like this. So I'm going to use a speed square because this is what I got. And it's blunt, so it kind of makes the description even better, or the analogy, whatever, makes it better. So just think of this as your knife and you're cutting down. I can go between them. Whereas if you're a face grain, I'm going to cut into them. It's going to be cutting across them. It's a very, very crude explanation, but it kind of hopefully get the point across is that you can cut between the grains and you won't be cutting them as whereas this one you'll be actually cutting across them. These will be kind of cutting between them. You don't see as much of the marks, and also if you want to clean it up, it's much simpler because you don't go as deep into the grains as you do into the face of the board. I made a few mistakes on this one when I first made it. You can see that I don't use this one for a cutting board anymore. It's just one I had here that I could show you because I actually had to fill in a couple of cracks with epoxy. I don't want to use that for a cutting board anymore because when you cut into this, the epoxy can crack and you can consume it, and that's not good. The reason why there are a couple other things with this one. This one I have is made of red oak, walnut, cherry, and hard maple. The red oak is the main problem with this board because red oak has I researched has open pores, and you can see the grain of it. I'll hold it up here so you can see a little bit better. You can see the grain. You can see all these how you can see a little bit more. They absorb everything. So I did cure it with the mineral oil that I usually use, but over time it cracked in two places, and I think there's actually another one forming here. I just resurfaced this yesterday, so it will look good for you guys. Um, Whereas the hardwoods, the walnut, the cherry, and the maple, they're what's called a closed grain, but they don't get stuff in them. Um, the problem with stuff getting there, food particles and stuff, is if you don't wash it enough, it'll get uh, rancid, and it'll make you sick. So on the charcuterie board, on the other hand, you're just using this for serving, so it doesn't matter That's why you can use a charcuterie board that has a epoxy finish on it. It could be, I used the mineral spirit or the mineral oil, and this one actually I didn't show you guys, but I used Rubio Monocoat. It gives it a little bit more of a vibrant look to it. That's why this one looks a little bit different than the ones I made on the video there. What kind of sets the two apart besides that, this one also has an alternative where you have the plastic ones, and I'll go into a little bit more about those a little bit further down the video. Not all charcuterie boards have handles. Some don't have a handle like this. They'll have like a carved handle onto it. I think those look a little funny. They kind of look like a paddle. And I don't know, just not my thing. If people like them, you can make them. I can show you how to make them. If I get a couple of comments back on this one, I'll make one and I'll show you how to do that. It takes a little more work because you got to do a lot more hand sanding, but it is possible. And if people like that, I got some leftover black walnut. I can pop out one of those if people like to see how to make one of those. This one is nice because it doesn't, like I said, doesn't have any epoxy on it. You can tell the bottom is not as shiny because I didn't finish it as high quality as a sanding, because the bottom doesn't need to be. When you're making an end grain board, which are really popular on YouTube and stuff, the choice of the wood is very important. I learned that after the fact. I found that the red oak splits a lot more. The oak that I had used on here, this is all made from leftovers of other projects. That's why it wasn't that huge of a deal to me that it cracked. But this red oak was kiln dried and it was all dried and stuff. But about 6 months after I made it, it started forming cracks. I know there are ways to do it, and I probably just didn't take care of it enough. I didn't keep it oiled enough, because then you wouldn't get as much of the cracks. Also, when you're making an end grain, people say you're not supposed to do it. I did it on another board, and it's about 7 years old, and it hasn't any problem. You don't want to mix end grain with face grain. The idea is that they're going to expand and contract in different rates. I don't know if it's true because, like I said, I made one. It was actually the same board as this. I made them at the same time, and I put a 1/8 inch border of face grain around it to help it hold it together. And I've been using that one for 6 years, and I haven't had any issues. So, some of the stuff that you see on YouTube or Facebook or anything else on the internet, kind of take it with a grain of salt, even what I'm saying, because sometimes stuff works even though people say it isn't going to work. I do kind of get a little preachy on the epoxy, just because if you think about it, it's a chemical, and we all ingest enough chemicals as it is. But if it gets in your system, it might hurt you. Also, with that being said, I meant to grab a plastic cutting board to bring in here. The plastic cutting board is another option. What's the pros to a plastic cutting board is that they're always going to be able to be sterilized. A wood cutting board, it can get stuff into the pores, even face or end grain, and it can fester. Even if you scrub it down, it can still get a bacteria into the board itself because it's wood, so it has open pores and it has pores. It has cells, so they can absorb them. A plastic cutting board doesn't have that, so you can sterilize it and clean it off a lot better, and that's a positive of that. The negative to the plastic cutting board is the same as the epoxy, that over time, as you're cutting into it, you're cutting that plastic out, and it can get into your food. And then they have new studies about microplastics, which are supposedly in everything from your water bottles to that. These are actually bigger plastics, so they're going to get into your system. Supposedly they can stay there forever. I don't know the science behind it. I am not a scientist. I'm just a guy trying to make shit, show you on a video. Hopefully you view it and you love me because I'm awesome. But with that being said, I'm not telling you which one to use or not to use. I'm just kind of trying to explain you the difference of the three. Like an end grain cutting board like this, if you don't make it yourself and you go to buy it, people are going to screw you on it. Everybody out there selling them right now is selling them for crazy amounts. I mean, just for the walnut that they put into these boards, people want up to $8 a board foot, which I can explain at a different time. But basically, if you're going to buy that wood, take the time to put it together, make it look pretty, you're going to have to charge a lot of money. A board like this in my area, without the oak on it, if it were just the hardboard centers, even at this width, would still probably be 50, 60 bucks, if not more, depending on if you're buying it at like a store or just some guy you know. If you go to like a craft show, it gets kind of crazy. And then they get the bigger ones that have, they're more the charcuterie board style where they have the handles and stuff on them, and they want even more money in that. I do like the cutting boards to be thicker. I believe this one is about 1.5 inches thick. it seems to hold up a lot better. If you make them thinner, so like anything between 1/2 and 3/4 should be a charcuterie board, whereas anything thicker than that can be a cutting board. The reason why is because as you're cutting down onto it, pushing onto it, you're gonna more likely break it. A 1/2 inch board, you think it's pretty thick, but it can snap pretty easily, especially with an end grain. It would snap in next to no time. So this is the next level of what I'm going to be trying to do, of more of the straight talking to you. If you made it this far into this video, you probably care more about what I'm doing because you're one of the over 200 subscribers now. So I went on vacation for a week and the channel kind of went pretty crazy, which is awesome to me. I went from 65 to 100 in a week, and then from 100 to over 200 in a week. So to me, that is amazing. I do appreciate everybody who watches these videos. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to get forward with what I want to do. I make a lot of projects. I truly want to let everybody know that I truly, truly appreciate you watching this channel. The subscribers are amazing because then it shows me that I'm actually going somewhere. I know it's more of a vanity thing because it just means that you guys actually care to come back or try to remember me. I'm feeling pretty confident in a lot of this stuff, and by you guys watching me and watching the channel and subscribing, it gives me more confidence. I know that I make mistakes, and I try to tell you about any mistakes I do. I think anybody in this world makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So by showing those to you, I make myself fix them and try not to do them in the future. Once again, I very truly appreciate it. If you like it, give it a like. If you think you want to watch more of me, you'll see a lot more of building and hopefully some more adventure if we ever get snow, because I wanted to take you guys snowmobiling with me. Once again, thank you for watching me. I do appreciate it. I'm going to keep on trying to make some of this stuff for you here, and hopefully you like it and keep coming back. Thank you. May God bless you, and you have a great day. One of my last videos, I was asked if I was in my basement. This is actually not my basement. This is an office, kind of like a house that I bought a while ago from my company. And I wanted to show you what I have set up as my shop space here. So you can see over my shoulder, I'll kind of put you to the side here. I'm not very good at this. You can see that I have a wonderful tarp here just to kind of keep dust out from the rest of the building. Then I have a stack of walnut on the ground there. The project that I'm building right now, which is the cabinet, more windows, a big doorway, that's what we come into. The post, it's always in the middle of everything. The kind of dust collection / table saw area that I have. There's a set of stairs that goes up there to the upstairs, which is just a bunch of storage. And then the area where you normally see me, which is my workbench, the backdrop thing, and the windows and the chop saw. And then I have a set of old windows here that is kind of a dust partition to the rest of the office so that everything doesn't get crazy dusty. So yeah, this is my whole shop space that I have set up for right now. It's doing okay for right now. It is small because you can see like the table itself is like 3 by 5, and that takes up most of that area. And then over here I have a cabinet set up right now, which is 8 foot by 3 foot. So that you can see almost fills the entire area. I got some garbage over there I got to take care of. So I am not in my basement. That could be, my basement would actually be bigger, but it's finished, and my wife would really hate if I put all this dust in my house. It is what it is. I build more stuff, maybe I plan on eventually building a bigger garage so that I could do it. My garage at home has cars in it, so can't use it that. Also, it's not as nice as this, so this stays warmer and easier, and the floor is a little bit softer because it's wood instead of concrete. So I appreciate you. If you watch this, it kind of shows you what's going on and how I do stuff. Once again, thank you for watching.